too deep in the weeds out there about it. And that's why
I mean, they can't see my screen, but they can see yours, so you can do the same thing and bring it up. But
well, we're going. We're already rolling.
Oh, we're rolling?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, geez.
Yep.
Okay.
Like, share, subscribe.
Hit the thumbs up, guys. Come on. Help us out.
Hit thumbs up. Eventually want to do a live stream.
Yeah, we keep building subs. I mean, we're getting to the point where it'd be kind of fun to do a live stream and interact with everybody.
Trying out a new audio source, so hopefully it cleans up some of the audio.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad before, but I think definitely, again, trying to improve.
Right.
So hopefully they see a little benefit in the new audio. So you got here and you started telling me a story, and I said, just stop. Save it.
Shut me down.
Yeah, let's get in there and get into it.
All right. Let's get into it. So,
I'll find out why you're doing that.
Russia shot down a UFO.
Really?
Yes.
It's crazy because I have not heard anything about this until you just told me.
I heard it on Black Scout Survival's channel, so a shout out to Jack, was it Richland? I heard it reported on his channel first. He said it was really hard to find, but it looks like they're starting to...
So this is from Newsweek?
Yeah, from Newsweek.
Over here. And I got it up
there it
so
is.
They can see it.
It was an orb that was flying over in southern Russia, over by Ukraine. I guess they've had a huge amount of UFOs flying around over there. And Russian planes shot one down.
And the people that are just listening can't see this.
Right. So it's a little, the video, there's a video, this is a picture of it
the video
we're looking at right now.
Right here. Yeah.
The video is kind of neat. I mean, you see the little glowing orb flying around, and then you see it kind of like...
Are they going to show me video here, or is this...
You see it get shot down and some flames around it. Apparently, Russia did recover it. They have it. Yes, they have it. So, I don't know. Let it.
That's over.
Oh, it's over. Yeah, that was it. It was just showing the region that.
Yeah, I think that was actually.
Jack Richland had a video of it on his. He played the video on Black Scout Survival. It's pretty neat.
There a headline that said a UFO in the form of a ball was shot down in the sky. I'm just reading through this because I said I hadn't heard anything about it, so I'm trying to...
Yeah, and that's what Jack was saying was the crazy thing is like how hush-hush it is, with the media. And
you see that?
What?
Oh, wow. As far as include restriction on movement and strengthened public order measures.
Declaring some martial law.
Yeah, effective martial law in 4 regions he claimed to have annexed but does not fully control. Okay.
Yeah. So there was
do they think it was a UFO, or do they think it was a drone?
Well, they're calling it a UFO. It was an orb that was shot down that they recovered, and that's all they're saying about it. Now the conspiracy is, was it ET? And that picture that you're seeing right now on the screen, that glowing orb, in the video you see it kind of like flames come off of it, and then a tail like it's gonna crash.
Is it before or after they hit it? That's before.
Okay. Yep, that's before they hit it, and then once they hit it, you see it kind of like burst in flames, and then the video ends. There's a lot of conspiracies, I mean, the theories are going crazy. What it is, was it really extraterrestrial?
How is it that this happened January 3rd and I haven't heard about this?
That was Jack's point. Like, how come the media is not... Why is this such hush, like, let's not talk about this? So
you should have emailed him and asked him if we could have used some of his video.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that would have been a good idea. I should have sent him a message and asked him if we could, co-op his little video right there, because it was kind of neat. I'm gonna
go back to our monitors. I'm gonna go in there and watch it myself.
Yeah, go in and check it out.
Yeah. Because
here I'll bring.
You got it over there
right here.
Okay.
Because I watched it. So.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was pretty cool.
I want to see another article. That was Newsweek, which is
that was Newsweek,
which is wild. That's weird. That I don't see any other. I don't see anyone else picking.
Some of the theories was that obviously it was a drone or American.
I got it right here.
Well, if you got it,
I got it right here. Yeah,
it's not showing up in my feed now for some reason.
Yeah, if you want to look on your other monitor.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Loading.
Is it advanced technology that the U.S. has that we've
Get energized at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Ends January 12th.
A lot of people that's been saying that for years, that all these UFO sightings we're seeing as just advanced military.
Time to close out the week with our interesting stories.
Yeah, I've seen this video.
Southern
It's
and
pretty
Richard,
good
the
too.
Russian government is making some pretty major claims tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we're not too happy, I guess, with the Russian government right now. But that aside, Russian air defenses, Melissa, did say that they shot down a UFO. They actually released some video of it. We're looking at it here. This was reportedly shot down in the Rostov area near the Ukraine border.
Yeah,
the governor of this Russian region said the UFO was a small-sized object in the shape of a ball.
This is supposed to be the
and was
UFO
flying
here.
roughly a mile and a half
and then you see the
in time
trail
in the
where
sky on January 3rd, when the decision was made to shoot it down. Now, it is not clear what the object is. It's certainly possible it was a Ukrainian or maybe even a Russian drone.
But you know what? For all those UFOs that
that's wild.
Outrun fighter jets and shit all the time. Sooner or later, one of them's going to get caught off guard, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be. You know what I mean? With so many encounters, if this is extraterrestrial,
right?
If this is alien technology, sooner or later, they're going to mess up.
Or we're going to get advanced enough.
Yeah. We're going to either get advanced enough or we're going to be able to take advantage of them having oops, we weren't paying attention and this plane got close enough to shoot us down. I don't know, man. To be a fly on the wall when they scrape that up off the ground. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I want to know, baby. I hope it's an alien.
I want to know what they...
Now, you know what? Nuclear war is the least of your worries if you just shot down an alien ship.
Yeah, well, it depends if we already have them at Roswell or not, right?
I mean, do we have them in some tank somewhere,
Right.
What are they called in Star Wars? Batha tanks, you put them in, but I don't know. Man, is it a real, true alien UFO, or is it just advanced weaponry that, we've sent over to the Ukraine to help them out? I can't imagine if we had advanced technology like that we would send it over there. You know what I mean? Like, you would almost think we would keep that here for us.
It depends if you wanted to test it out for a different conflict,
But they've been seeing these UFOs all around the world.
Yeah,
so
true, yeah.
It's I don't know. I would think if we had an orb that could fly around like that, I guess using magnetism or something, it would, there's...
But why would the UFO appear as bright? That looks like, that's bright.
Yeah, that's
glowing. Not like, whatever that thing is bright.
Yeah, they're not hiding it, what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's weird about it.
Drones are, when they send a drone over someplace, it's high in the sky, it's no lights on it. Man.
Yeah, it looks like several outlets are reporting on this. Is MSN reporting on it.
Man. Go Russia. Shot down a UFO. Damn. I want to know what was in it. Is there little green guys in there or what, man? Come on.
If there were, they ain't alive now after that fireball.
I don't know. I just... if there really truly is aliens,
because I think it looks like
monitoring the Earth, because we're, I don't know. Some people say because we're so close to a nuclear war that every time there was nuclear testing or nuclear conversation was building to that point, like you would see a huge increase in these UFO sightings.
Yeah.
That maybe the extraterrestrials didn't want us to annihilate the Earth with a nuclear war. Maybe. Right. I mean, what's going on in Ukraine right now?
The only thing I don't, and I've heard the same reports that over facilities like that. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden they were capable of launching like their
Right.
computer systems.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is
Didn't Russia's just shut down? Like a few weeks ago, they had some glitch, and
I'm not sure.
yeah, I think so.
What I don't understand is Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Then
Right.
why did that be allowed to happen? If
Maybe that was the last straw, though, when it did happen. And, you know, one of the reports, all right, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole a little bit now on this one because, you know, this is my wheelhouse. This is shit I love. But
go take off.
one of the reports that I
too
read
far.
was that there is extraterrestrials here on Earth with us in cooperation with our governments around the world. Different governments have treaties with these extraterrestrials, and that they're helping guide us with technology. They're helping
I should really
sway us away from nuclear war, things like that, you know, could destroy the planet. Is it true? I don't know. It's possible. You know, I will tell you this. I do believe in life out there somewhere. I think to have a universe that is ever expanding and there's no end to it, and to think that we're just a little cosmic piece of dust in the middle of this cluster, to think that we're the only life, I think is kind of naive and arrogant. You know, I would imagine there's life. So now, does that mean that they visited here? No. Maybe not. I don't know. You know, some people are saying it was a weather balloon that Russia shot. Oh, come on, that's not a weather balloon. This isn't Roswell. You know, even that shit, when that crashed, there's so much. When you look at the documentation, when the sheriff brought home the piece of that UFO to his son, and there's a interview of his son, you know, now who's a grown man, explaining what he's seen, and it looked like aluminum foil that you could crinkle up, and then as soon as you let it go, it would flatten right out with no ripples, no creases, nothing. Like, it was not a weather balloon. Now, was it advanced military equipment? Could be. And that, you know, the U.S. government co-opted the UFO narrative to, you know, keep people looking at your left hand so you're not seeing what the right hand's doing. Could be. I don't know.
Bro, you ever seen this? I feel like I'm on Reddit or something here. You see the website, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff like that now. And then my
look at point. Yeah, but look what it says right here. I'd have to do some more research on this.
Yeah, let's go down the rabbit hole.
Look at this.
Oh wow, look at it.
What the
Yeah. What the F?
What? I'm confused right now.
It's very, you know, and what I want to know is why the thing that kind of made me, and as much as I love like aliens and science and
what's the date on
and
this?
UFOs and stuff.
Because if you read this paragraph right here,
the thing that makes me think it's military equipment is because. And I want to know, I guess we'll have to look it up and see, but it seems like the UFOs we see here across the U.S. now they're all like tic-tac shaped, but then the UFOs are seen over there, orbs. So it kind of, you know, are these just Russia and America sending these weird advanced drones over top of each other's countries? Or is this, you know, I heard there was a couple different kinds of aliens that we have.
I heard the ones on the East Coast here were orbs.
Those were orbs. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
But the ones on the West Coast were the tic-tac.
Were the tic-tac.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. I'm telling you, man.
Tic-tac.
Tic-tac.
Social media.
Yeah. See, I told you that shit's brainwashing you, man.
Jeez, oh,
I told you.
Yeah, see? Rotting my brain out.
I don't know. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if in the next, 5 years, a UFO lands on the lawn of the White House in the middle of the day, and some alien walks out and tells us, Jesus ain't real, that it's their God, that they hydroseeded the planet with a bunch of human DNA to create us or something. Who knows? Like, man, that there you're talking some shit that was written in the Bible, crazy. But man, Russia shot one down, you know.
Even the New York
And they were
Post.
saying the shit that some of these when you know,
this is December 2022.
yeah, we talked about this before with some of the videos that the U.S. government had released. But man, when they were given the description, the Navy ships that were out there, and they were talking about how this thing was flying through the air, it paced the ships, and it took off at a high rate of speed, and then it dove down underwater, and it was like subsonic underneath the surface of like impossible. Like there's no technology that we have that would enable a piece of equipment to travel that fast under the surface of water, you know, in the ocean. It's just, I don't know. Maybe there are little green men, you know. Man, wouldn't that be the shit if they could actually prove it, and then you knew like what happened in Roswell was the people were that said that were right, you know. They weren't conspiracy theorists, that they had the truth, man.
I don't know. I'm highly suspicious this is some advanced U.S.
Could be.
technology. Trust me,
Yeah.
only because I want to believe.
I mean, look at, you know, what was it? The Germans had the bell that, you know, they were working on. It was shaped like a bell with some sort of UFO advanced technology. But where did it come from? Where did we get it from? Is it really from a real UFO that crashed in Roswell and we're just reverse engineering this shit? Could be, you know. I don't know, man. I'm telling you, in our lifetime, little green men coming to a city near you, you know.
You just kind of smell. Oh,
because the one thing that kind of
around 8,000 feet, they said.
yeah, the one thing that kind of makes
It
me
was
think
decided
not
to
a drone.
liquidate it. That's what it says in the article here.
Yeah. Wow. The thing that makes me think it's not advanced military equipment, the thing that gives me pause about it is you know what, those B-52 bombers, when they first come out, remember? In our lifetime, that was a thing. Or the stealth bombers, I mean. When they got away from the B-52s, they went to the stealth bomber. No one's seen that. No one's seen that for years. It took forever before someone finally caught a glimpse of it and then blabbed it out to the media, and they denied it. Like, you know what I mean? They never wanted anyone to see what they're working on. Would you really, if you had an orb that could fly around, would you just fly it around cities all the time, letting millions of people see this? I mean, there are more reports, UFO sightings, than there are Bigfoot sightings.
But I don't understand those. Why? It's a glowing ball. Like, they weren't even trying to hide whatever there. Now,
is it psychological warfare?
well,
maybe.
I don't know if you do. I wonder if they were testing the defense of Russia.
Or that.
Let's see how, like.
But would you risk
why would
getting
they...
one of them shot down and giving them your technology? Like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's the one thing that drives me away from advanced military equipment, because as much as I love to go down the rabbit hole about extraterrestrials and shit like that and UFOs, because I'm a deep believer in that, you know.
I know.
I believe Roswell had little aliens there.
Look,
the
I'm
first
right
thought
here
I
with
had.
you.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
You know, like that's why I'm very cautious about.
Right.
I haven't had any time to digest this. I mean, literally.
That's why I tried to give you a couple minutes to give you the heads up on it. But the first thought I had, I'll admit, was advanced military equipment. And then as soon as I started to think about that, I thought that really doesn't make sense. It almost makes more sense that it was an alien UFO.
So do you think
we caught? Finally.
They allowed aliens, whatever, right?
Yep.
They allowed this to happen to bring peace in. Like, okay, let's throw them a bone. They'll shoot this down. They'll bring them together, trying to figure out what this is. Like, let's give them a chip. Let's give them a chip shot. We'll make it glow. Pass it over the sky. Let them shoot it down.
Something to kind of come together around.
Yeah.
Maybe. Could be.
That's the only reason.
We actually caught one when it wasn't paying attention. I mean, if you look up how many sightings there are, I mean, there's millions of them, right?
There are, but how many credible, good video do we have?
I think there's more than what
we have military FLIR
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that.
No, that was a good one, you know.
We don't have anything
well,
like
we
that.
don't know. Right? They haven't released they obviously know more than we do. So
but
you know, if they're doing real threat assessments on this shit to see, like, I would have to think they are. If these UFOs are real and they're flying over the White House and, you know, over our nuclear facilities, any sort of nuclear power plants and chemical plants, like, I would have to think they're doing a threat assessment on this. I gotta believe then that the government would not share all that they know. It seems like they threw us a bone on it. Man, crazy times we live in.
Yeah, this is where...
Baby. I love it. I love it. It's awesome.
So, it looks like in 2023, the number of smartphone users in the world today is about 7 billion.
Yeah.
So 7 billion cell phones. How many credible UFO videos do we have? That was my question.
Right. Well, I think
now we have this perfect...
You actually have a lot, but with smartphones, the problem is a lot of these UFOs are at night. I got a great smartphone. Like it takes beautiful pictures. At night, the pictures ain't so great. Especially something that's 8,000 feet in the air. You know what I mean? How are you gonna capture any clear, beautiful video or with your phone? You're just not gonna. You know. I could understand why you didn't, but that governments are getting clear video, and I think they have a lot more than what they're telling us. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole and tell you, I believe that these UFOs, a lot of them are credible, real, and our governments know about it, and they're keeping that information from us. I mean, you know, come on. The government would never lie to us, would they? You know?
Yeah. Do you remember this one over...
Is that the one that went over Russia?
No, this is LA.
Oh, LA?
Yeah, this was back in 2019.
I don't know. I've watched so many of them over the years. But, you know, like that.
No doubt. Yeah, I get it.
You know, I love that shit.
I just get...
To me, it's fun to entertain the idea of, you know, if there was advanced life out there somewhere that's, you know, just evolved past where we're at now, where they could do interplanetary travel, and, you know, are they using wormholes? Are they traveling at this faster than the speed of light? Warp engines? I mean, you know, is Star Trek gonna be a reality in our lifetime? The Federation of Planets? They're kind of fun things to
I can't find the exact one I wanted.
Yeah, there's once you crack, that's Pandora's box, dude. There are so many of these out there.
It was pretty famous, and they showed it all over the news.
When shopping for a new vehicle, how do you know which brand you can trust?
From, like, the highway.
Subaru has been named Kelley Blue Book's most trusted
video
brand a record 8 years running. That's more than any other brand.
Yeah,
it's easy to love a brand you can trust.
And I wonder what that even was.
Right.
You know, because I don't believe the official.
Right.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah.
Yo, what
look at that. What the hell is that?
It's because sunset. It's getting the sun.
Yeah, I have no idea. You tell me.
You know, that's what I would call a UFO, right? Like,
I don't remember what the official narrative.
Even the way it changes, like, yeah.
I don't remember what the official narrative was.
It's a weather balloon.
Yeah.
I wonder, can we?
Look at this thing behind it here.
Why can't we?
I don't know, because I don't know enough. Here's the dash cam video. Yeah, there's several videos.
I mean, it's out there. They're using all this footage. I imagine we could. I say use it. You know, what are they going to demonetize our video? They just did that as soon as I said Russia shot down a UFO.
So yeah, I don't know what we're being told the truth about, what we're being lied about.
Well, we know that the government doesn't tell you the truth.
I don't know.
We know that. We don't even know the truth about January 6th, the truth about 9/11, the truth about Epstein. Right. I mean, you know, The government would never lie to us, that's for sure.
Right, and
I trust Catholic priests more than I trust the government. So.
Things that they have their hands in, I can see them lying about, right?
Especially something like that.
But
whether it's advanced military equipment or
UFO,
true UFOs.
A UFO, I don't know. If they wanted to make themselves known, I think it's so much bigger than the U.S. government.
Yeah, people have the right to know.
There's no way they were going to keep the lid on that,
But also, doesn't it kind of remind you of prophecy, though? Like, right out of the book of Revelations, man. Like, we're getting, the chip in our head, and, you got to have this to buy and sell anything, and the false prophets, and, I mean, what the hell? How many people would turn away from... Let's play this out for a second, this scenario. So, a UFO lands in Times Square, right? Like, in Central Park. Not in Times Square, it's not a room, but in Central Park. Hovers around Times Square, lands in Central Park. A guy comes out, some humanoid-looking alien, a little bit different than us, says, "We're God. There is no God." How many people would run to the feet of that and say, "We worship you"? Like, yeah, Christ was just... All these things that was talking about chariots of fire in the Bible and stuff was just obviously UFOs that was just interpreted that way by people that didn't have the... they didn't know how to describe it right, so they described it in the technology they had, which was chariots burning, flying through the sky. Because there's stories in history, recorded history, of lasers that were being shot from, Alexandria, I think, that could shoot a beam of light and catch ships on fire way out in the ocean. It was one of their self-defense things, and that's a laser. So, was there advanced civilizations before? I believe there was. So how many people would sway away from... I bet you it would pull a lot of people away from...
Well, I guess I'd have to ask... I'd have to know... Okay, so if they created us, and they're our creator, they created us in their image, and obviously they changed over time, right?
Right.
Why did they instill religion in us? In our...
Right. Well, I think people would say in our...
Not in us, but I mean, why...
In our prehistoric minds, we were worshiping the aliens, who we worshipped them like gods, and over time of them being away from Earth maybe for a while, we gave them these names of...
But I'm saying, like Moses,
gods,
like the Bible, like as far as them...
Me personally, nothing is going to break my faith. Nothing. I don't care if an alien landed, and we seen him shaking hands with Joe Biden. If the alien healed Joe Biden, touched him on the head, and all of a sudden Joe Biden was smart again. I believe the book that I read, nothing's going to break my faith and trust in that. It's the prophecy says that you're going to get false prophets that will be able to create miracles, do things like that, and to pull people away from, because
then how do you know?
Faith. You got to have faith.
Then how do you know who is?
Well, you're supposed to pray a lot, and God's going to guide you. Is the idea, So your heart's gonna, listen to the little voice in your head when you're like, something don't feel right about this exactly. Like, you're supposed to read. You're supposed to know the prophecy so that you're prepared for this stuff. The story in the Bible is there's servants, right, and their Lord, the controller of their kingdom or whatever, leaves. And they have chores to do. They don't know when their master's going to come back, but some of them take a nap and just goof off because the master's gone. But he comes back in the middle of the night. They weren't expecting it. You know what I mean? They get whipped.
Yeah.
But the guys, when the master came back and they did what they were supposed to do, it didn't matter what time. You don't know when your Lord was going to come back, but they were fine. Because they did the work. They were prepared for it. So I guess is the idea, what I gather from it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Crazy times we live in. You know what I mean?
But that would be my fear, is that religious people are expecting this guy with a long gray beard and a robe and sandals to come down with the staff and come
I don't
walking.
think it'll be that way either.
And he's the only one that heals people. Okay, then he's our prophet, right?
Yeah, he's the Messiah.
So, but him, God coming back, to me, definitely could be aliens in a ship. Like, look, we used to look like you guys. We've evolved to this. We created you. experiment, whatever.
Sure.
To see,
I would see why we would look a little different.
Or
We
to
live on a different planet.
See the universe, whatever it was, and you dipshit apes are getting a little too fucking crazy and you're going to kill each other, so we have to come down here and put a stop to this bullshit.
The question that got asked to me is how can you be, I don't like to say religious because I'm not spiritual, like I'm a Christian, I believe in Christ. How can you believe in Christ and God but believe in aliens? And I said, well, God, in my mind, created this universe that never ends.
Yeah.
Why would we be the only life that he would create? And if there are aliens and they are real, well, they were created by God too. And my theory,
right?
The way I see it, but
and that's how I see it too. But I also believe that,
like the Big Bang, I believe in the Big Bang. But my question always was, well, where the F did the Big Bang come from?
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing. Everything is void.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing. And then there's this big giant explosion that starts
from nothing.
Energy and spinning from nothing. Where'd that come from?
Right.
So in my mind, if God was to create the universe, he would, boom, create a Big Bang. Create comets and asteroids that kind of seeded carbon and, different elements on different planets to give that chain reaction that created life.
Or hit the power button on the computer and...
Or we're all in the Matrix. And tomorrow we're going to wake up and
simulation,
we're going to be really famous podcasters hanging out in some big city tomorrow, and they upload that feed. I know Taekwondo. I love the Matrix.
Just a new version of.
Yeah.
It was funny you say that because I was telling my daughter the 3D printer the other day. She was using a 3D printer, and the table wouldn't cool down no matter how many times she cycled it.
Wow.
And I hadn't thought about it, but today, after we got home, we were having lunch, and I told her, I'm like, in my dream last night, I figured out how to fix the heating problem on the table of the 3D printer. I remember solving it in my dream, but I can't remember how I fixed it.
Oh, well, that'll drive you crazy.
Isn't that messed up, though? All
right? Even problem solving while you sleep. Your brain never stops.
Yeah.
That's why some people believe there's a correlation between spiritual contact and dreams, because everything else in your body's shut down, like your brain's free to, you can really connect with some heavy, deep shit while you're sleeping. So I don't know. I know I've had dreams where I woke up and I knew that it was significant. Like there was a message in that. There's not a doubt in my mind. Like this is something I was meant to remember, and there's a lesson in this, and I need to think about this and kind of peel this back and take. There's something in this that I need to take away from. Then there's other dreams where I woke up and whatever. It's just guy dreams, right?
Yeah, but more and more recently, I'm discovering dreams like, oh, I've been here before. Like it's a reoccurring dream, but I didn't remember it. Mm-hmm. I haven't remembered them lately. They've been hanging with me.
Right.
Like I've been here before, but I haven't been remembering this. Right.
Yeah. Those really mess with me because I have a handful. We've talked about our dreams lots of times.
Like vividly, the one I had last night, not about fixing the 3D printer, but another one. And I was like, oh, I've been here. Yeah. A couple times, and now it's here. Like that was like the third or fourth time I've been.
Now it's
there.
Really solidifying it in your mind that I have those reoccurring dreams, and even when they change, just a few of the details might change a little bit. There's still solid parts of it that are the same. And I told you, like, it really messed with my head because I didn't believe in like reincarnation and shit like that. But it kind of made me wonder. It feels like a life that I lived. Like these are places that I've never been to in my life, but I have been there. I know these places, and man, it's a real head screw. Like, I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. But I think, if anything, it tells us that there's something more than just us, which can segue into something pretty cool. One of the things I was thinking about, over this last few days, there's just all this shit going on in the world with, the Speaker of the House vote. And I've been watching it live, right? Because, history in the making, baby. Like, wow, this is crazy times.
Well, repeating.
Yeah, repeating. Right? Yeah. history repeating for sure. 160 years or so ago this happened. So,
were they on 12?
They went. He got it. It was on the 14th one.
Okay. Last one I saw was 12.
Night. Yeah, late last night he finally got it. And just the arrogance. Look, man, you lost 10, 12, 13 times. Give it up. Obviously, there's some people that don't want you, and they just entitled. Republicans, they make me sick, man. The whole thing makes me sick.
It is.
It was disgusting to watch.
It's disgusting. It's power. It's greed.
Yeah, three votes.
Money.
3 times you were denied. Then pass the baton on to someone else that could do it and get enough votes to be elected Speaker of the House.
And I agree, they should be electing somebody that doesn't want it.
Right, absolutely. This guy's so power hungry. Yeah. He wanted it so bad. He already moved into the office.
Is there any difference between him and Pelosi at the end of the day?
None. So you know what? For the person that brought up me dinging Pelosi all the time, I'll be dinging McCarthy now.
Yeah.
No, he's my next victim. So,
I honestly don't see any difference.
Don't like that guy
between the two.
Just this, he just looks like a cheese dick. Excuse me, sorry. Anyways, so I was thinking though, conservatives and liberals and Republicans and Democrats, and sometimes why can't we talk, right? And the difference between someone that wore the face covering and someone who didn't, and how different people were treated during those times, and just how tribal it got, and I was trying to peel it back. Still is. Yeah, it still is.
The one thing, and I'm positive, thing I'll caution is don't ever call him, because don't ever call anybody out or approach them, because for one, it makes you look like shit if you approach somebody and ask them why they're still wearing a mask these days.
Or why they're not.
Right.
Either way.
Right.
Right.
Just like people, give people shit about wearing a MAGA hat.
Right.
Which I don't own one.
Leave them alone.
Whatever. Right. Because, for one, you don't know if that person's going through cancer.
Right.
Or through
and
chemo.
They can't get sick.
Right.
My ex-sister-in-law right now cannot get sick. I mean, she'll die.
Right.
She'll die. She's fragile.
Right. There's people.
Wear a mask. You know what I mean? Leave her alone. You don't know that.
Yeah. So... Yeah, it's nice that people can. The way I see it, there was a time to where someone wore a mask. It was like you're like, oh God, they got to be going through chemo, right? Right. So at least now, all the focus isn't on that one person walking through the grocery store wearing a mask, right? Because you just go, okay, they're.
Or like the video I just seen of the guy, he walked by and he wasn't wearing a mask, and the guy wearing the mask tried to attack him. Yeah. Tried to get in a fist fight with him because he got too close to him while he wasn't wearing a mask, and I'm like.
Still today?
Yeah, it was just it was like a couple weeks ago to a restaurant or a mall. And I thought, why? I got to go back and look. But I thought, why would you get on top of this guy? You just complained he's not wearing a mask and he's too close to you. Right. So then you close the difference and try to fist fight him? Right. What the hell sense does that make? So, I was just...
That's the extreme side of people losing their freaking mind.
Sure. No, look, I've seen people wearing a mask driving down the road, and, I kind of giggle sometimes. Well, you're in the car by yourself. You're in your vehicle and you're wearing a mask. But, to all their own. Hey, if that makes you more comfortable... Go ahead.
It's definitely become a symbol of the left, right? Sure. I mean, no doubt. There are people that are just virtue signaling when they wear a mask, right? They're just saying.
Yeah. You know what I mean? If they want to wear it, they to each their own. I really don't care. I'm a freedom loving person. What I want to really try to understand in this is, why are the differences so pronounced that you can't even talk if you have an opinion, you're going to get canceled, right? If the other side, you say something, even us right now, we got to be so careful sometimes how we say things because, YouTube will shut you down. Look what Twitter did. So,
well, we're already shadow banned.
Yeah, we're already.
That's clear. Yeah, that's clear from the numbers. That. Yeah, we put up a certain short and that's critical of Trump, and all of a sudden
1,200 views in 24 hours.
Not even. I don't.
Yeah, not even. It was probably a half a day.
Right.
And then you have something, smart with something about by 8 views. Yeah. You know what I mean? No one sees it. And we've seen it in the analytics where we just straight line like a dead body there. someone without a pulse. Like they weren't advertising our channel at all. So you guys really you guys are the ones that help us with this. It's hitting that thumb is how we break through that. Sharing it,
comments down below.
Yeah, interacting with us. Those things help a lot. But back to what I was saying, it kind of came to me like some of the differences during the pandemic, scandemic, whatever people want to call it, why people handled it so differently. And it kind of hit me like, conservative people that were believers didn't fear death as much as someone who and I was thinking, why did these people fear dying to the point where, they would freak out so bad? And I thought, well, if you didn't believe in anything beyond us, like, you die, your light goes out, darkness forever, you just, like you never existed, right? That is an intimidating thought, the thought of dying, right? So, and if a lot of the people on that side of the aisle didn't believe in God, didn't believe in life after death, like, well, then a disease and that does become a lot more terrifying. And then the way you behave when, it's about you, right? It's not about other people and being as giving and selfless. You're not. You're more selfish. So then you have this dividing line because of the beliefs people have that are so deeply embedded into their brain. Like, how do you bridge that gap? Man, I don't know. I think if you could figure out a way.
You're saying that people that didn't believe in God were more scared of dying because
that's it.
They don't believe there's anything but blackness beyond the other side, and
and I think you have a tendency to be more selfish.
They're self-consuming with their possessions and their image.
Yeah, you watch the TikTok videos and the girls on there like, I'm getting mine. And then you're saying they're not marriage-oriented, they're not family-oriented, it's inward thinking.
And then you're saying Republicans are God-fearing, faith-based people.
Not all of them.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm saying people on the right tend to be more...
Conservative people tend to be more spiritual, religious, God-fearing, probably more selfless. We know that charities, people that give money to charities, not to the Democratic or Republican Party, we're saying real charities, the majority of them are conservative people. They are very giving. It's part of our teaching to be a Christian to help your neighbor, right?
Or you could, there's a lot of angles to look at this one, why they got so scared too. It seems like the people on Twitter, leftists, seems like they're more on edge all the time, right? They're more, I don't know how to say it. I'm trying to think. Like, they're always amped up. They're always anxious. They're always, they're always arguing on social media.
Full of anxiety and stress and
taking Prozac and shit for whatever, right? So then you give very anxious, anxiety-ridden people this information that there's this thing out there, right?
Yeah.
And then they just grab a hold of it and run with it, right? Like, oh my God. There's quite a few ways, I guess, you could look at it, to where
it's definitely
it became tribal, clearly, because you can't say, Democrats, I'm sure there's Democrats out there like, I don't think this is what it.
Right. I don't want to shut my business down. I don't want to lose money. Sure.
I can't believe
there's a lot of people in the middle.
But it seemed like there was a clear. There clearly is sides, right? There's clearly sides.
Especially now. I think we were more in the middle when it first happened because a lot of people didn't know, and everyone's kind of like, all right, well, you know what? Let's flatten the curve, they call it, or whatever. And I think a lot of people were on board with that. I didn't
know what it was either.
Right. I think as it started to get out to the extremes is when the fringe on each side started to push back, and then that started to pull people from the middle out to the fringes. And then you started to see, I think the longer it went on, the deeper the divide got. And I think that's one of them.
For me, it was more once I started seeing information that I had more belief in than the shit I was getting peddled on corporate media. And I'm like,
But we would still label you as someone that's in the middle.
Right.
Me too. Because that's kind of what...
Then people around me got sick and they're like...
Yeah.
Like, now I'm like, wait a minute. Like...
Yeah. Kind of makes you think. What I want to see is where we can talk. Like Luke from Tim Pool says all the time, let the best idea win. And I love that. And that's kind of what I was thinking about is, how do we get to a place where I can... I love our costumes. It's kind of our gimmick. It's our thing, right? Yeah. And we're probably going to wear them forever, even if we didn't have to. But there was a reason why we went to this in the first place, because having an idea that's different than someone else's is just goddamn dangerous anymore. Yeah. And it shouldn't be, So how do we get to a place where, look, even if I disagree with you, I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your argument. Let's talk about it and see, because maybe I am wrong. You've seen me change my mind in real time while we were talking.
And this is something where I'm going to change my opinion, not change my opinion, but this is where I'm going to offer why. We were talking about schools last week and certain books being in libraries, right? And I'm like, at a high school level, it shouldn't really matter because that's how you raised your kids, right? Sure. That's how I believe about it. But at the same time, you can't tell me that this book is okay for a school library, but Ben Shapiro going to a college is threatening and violent.
Right.
Okay.
Or that we couldn't read a passage from it on YouTube, being adults, without the channel getting nuked.
Right.
But yet they have it in not just high school. Right. These are junior high and elementary schools.
I told you I had a problem with younger kids having access to
I
graphic images that, like you said, we'd get kicked off YouTube if you held it up and showed it, right?
Yeah.
So I've heard. I haven't seen the book. I haven't read it. We should get a copy.
Yeah. I thought I was going to order it.
I hate even doing it because then you're giving the money.
I know you're giving them the money, but I want.
But it's hard for me to talk about something I don't have firsthand knowledge of, and it, like really found out it really is bad.
I'll order one.
Okay.
I'll order it.
We probably should, just so we can.
Yeah.
I guess we can send it back, right?
This book sucks. I want to read one. Yeah.
So I will say that's one place where, I'll say I do have a problem. You can't tell me that this is okay, and it's inclusion and diversity, but then
when it's the other side trying to speak and just they're not going in there with SWAT shooting people with rubber bullets. He's going in to talk like Crowder does all the time. He sits at a table with a sign that says, "Hey, I believe in this, change my mind."
And let's
have a conversation.
And this is where I'll get a little conspiratorial and say it's like they're trying to seed this narrative.
The division?
They just want to seed this narrative and let it grow and let it spawn and let it flourish, right?
Sure.
And we don't want any of the other talk because that might change people in the other direction. So we got to crush all that conversation.
Sure.
Call it the right, whatever you want to call it.
Which is great while the left's on top, but what I would tell the people on the left is be very careful, because eventually the pendulum swings the other way, and what the hell are you going to do when everything's controlled by the right, and now they're crushing you, and you don't have the right to an opinion?
You're seeing that on Twitter, right? You're seeing that essentially on Twitter, that overwhelmingly people on the right or conservatives were banned, shadow banned. If they weren't outright, their accounts just deleted, right?
Yep.
And then Elon Musk takes over, and a couple leftists get a week suspension,
and they freak out.
It's, oh my God!
Yeah, they're writing blogs about it being like the Holocaust.
What did you expect?
Yeah,
this is what you get for not letting free conversation
exist. But yet
exist.
They know that these people also signed back on as their dog or using their mother's account, and people knew it, and they still didn't kick them off. So how much were you really being silenced? You know what I mean? Like, don't be so fragile about it. If you're willing to do this to the other side and it comes back to you, like you said, what the hell did you expect?
Right.
So then
this is why you have to have free. Like I said, there's a couple of things we can agree on.
Right.
No threats of violence, no doxing, and nothing with little kids.
Exactly.
All other conversations.
Everything else, let's have the conversation, and let's talk about ideas and facts and, you know, philosophy, and let's dig into it and let the best idea win. I love it when Luke says that. He couldn't say it enough. Like, it's one of my favorite sayings. I hope he makes a t-shirt. Luke, man, if you ever see this, you probably won't, but if you do, make a t-shirt that says, you know, let the best idea win. I'll buy it. I'll buy it and I'll wear it on the shirt.
I'll clip that and I'll tag him in it.
There you go. I'll buy it and I'll wear it on our show. You know,
I'll clip it
because I think it's one of the greatest sayings ever. It's just, you know. And then I'm looking at
but
like
they
Jordan.
don't. But that's where they don't. That's where they do themselves a disservice to people on the left because they're so afraid that people are going to be pulled to the right and they're just trying to get their ideas out there because they think that's the best. And I'm sure it does come from a good place of kindness, and they want the the world to be a kinder place and a better place. But this is where the conspiracy theories begin. Yeah. This is where people start going down rabbit holes about why they're doing it.
So I'm looking at like what's happening right now with Dr. Jordan Peterson. Like, I watch him.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything he says. You know, he's a super intellect. He's, you know, hell of a lot smarter of a guy than I am, right? So maybe he's right and I'm wrong a lot. It could be because he's a smart guy. Yeah. But I don't agree with everything he says. But I like a lot of what he says, you know? And you know, he's trying to empower people, like, because like I was saying with the book, it was just, to me, I'm watching, it's an indicator of how society's changing. Right. Mm-hmm. And just the things that are allowed now that wouldn't have been talked about 20 years ago, things that, you know, 30 years ago, having a strong male figure in the house was a good thing. Now it's toxic masculinity and all this bullshit that, you know, you're supposed to be ashamed to be a strong man. You should be a beta male. What do they call them? Soy boys, whatever. And he speaks out against that shit all the time about work hard, personal responsibility. Someone's complaining on, you know, to him and about, you know, being part of the life that he's creating. And he says, well, then leave, you know? So essentially, did he tell the person to go kill themselves? I guess you could make that argument that that's what he said. So there's all this outrage and everyone in Canada's offended. And now, you know, they're saying they're going to pull his license or he has to go to re-education. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And okay, so here's my problem. This can be a soundbite for you too. This will be a good short. Canada, kiss my ass, because I just sat for weeks and weeks watching videos and reading stories of suicide in Canada that's being promoted, even to teenagers who are feeling depressed and hopeless about the future. We can help transform you to your next life, right? Like,
so they're encouraging assisted suicide?
They're encouraging assisted suicide big time in that country. And you're going to cry because Jordan Peterson said, you know, go kill yourself. That he's got to get re-educated when your whole country is doing this right now. Like, it's one of the leading causes of death in Canada, I think, right now is suicide. It's crazy. And you know, it started, again, people did not push back. When it started doctor-assisted suicide for people who are sick and people like, hey, wait, we don't know if we like this. Oh, it's just for the sick people. Well, define sick people. Because people with mental illness that, you know, feel like a little hopeless in the future. New
York Post article.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Canadian
crazy.
Man assisted suicide being pushed on me by hospital.
Mm-hmm. I just seen a article I read that it was a war veteran who was having pain.
Look at those numbers.
It's
look at the numbers in 2021. Yeah. It says suicide's been legal in Canada since 2016, according to Forbes. Canada leads the world in assisted suicides with 10,064 in 2021.
Crazy. I mean, like, these are not people who are mentally ill, sorry, some of them are, physically sick with cancer that are, you know, at the end of their life, and we're going to give them a little mercy like we would our pet, right? And let them die with some dignity. These are people who are depressed. These are the one woman, she was trying to get the right medication, and the doctor told her, well, we can help end you. I mean, you know, like she wasn't even calling to get assisted suicide, and they were promoting it. And now I read that they're allowing teenagers.
Dude, look at that story. I consider the source
Fox News. You know,
you see what that says?
Yeah, that's one of them that I was talking about.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Dude,
she was a
real.
war.
The headline says a Canadian veteran and Paralympian says a government official offered to provide her with an assisted suicide kit when she asked to have a wheelchair lift installed.
Yeah, she was asking for help.
Can't be real. I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing.
It's crazy.
It's just how upside down.
But yet you're going to cancel Jordan Peterson because he told someone to kill themselves. He's Canadian, right?
I'd have to see the video.
So I'm like, is it really because someone was offended, or is it because you don't like his opinion on shit? Well, and that's what it is. We know why.
Right, you know why.
So my appeal, now I'm in the middle. You know, I'm left on some things. I'm right on some things.
I gotta click on this. That just seems...
My appeal to people on the left is slow the F down. Have conversations, man. Let people have the right to their opinion and a voice to speak their opinion so that, you know, you can protect yours also. Because, like, the right for free speech, the right to own and bear arms, like, guys, don't give these up, you know? So, yeah, Jordan Peterson, listen, man, not that you'll ever see the show either, but if you did, fight back. Please don't take this shit.
He won't.
You know? I think he's going to. I heard he filed a lawsuit to stop it. You know? Because honestly, he's got to be filthy rich. He's got over 1 million viewers on his show. Does he even need that license anymore? Does he even practice anymore? Probably not. You know, so I hope I think if anyone would stand up against this, he would.
It looks like Trudeau condemned the incident in a public statement after that came out.
I'm sure he had to, because it looked terrible.
So when there she is, 52.
She didn't want to die. She wasn't asking for help to be killed.
When you're having those issues, is like lifting your legs up. So I was like, okay, maybe Ollie can somehow.
So it proved that the narrative that they were painting was crap.
That just looks so bad.
Look, man, like, you know what? If someone says something,
you see the name they have for it?
Yeah,
they offered her. The name is MAID. They offered her a MAID, medical assistance in dying.
Yeah, they don't call it doctor-assisted suicide anymore because of the stigma.
We'll give you a MAID.
Yeah, we'll give you a MAID kit.
A year after the withdrawal from Afghanistan, left 18 service members severely
like minor attracted persons now, or MAPS, whatever they're called. You know, like, oh, come on. Everything is backwards.
I hope the aliens are here to save us.
You know what? I hope so. Yeah, come on, E.T. We need you, baby. You know, save us from ourselves, because we're in self-destruction mode right now. Humanity's going to shit.
I've never seen that story either.
Yeah, that was another one that just,
and that she really was referred to us.
There's another story. You see this one right here?
Say it.
It's like story after story about Canadian government offering
really cover those kind of disabilities. But our organization
assisted suicide to veterans.
Yeah.
In helping
thanks for your service.
Disabilities that other organizations
take this pill and go to sleep, never wake up. Because we'd rather kill you than pay for your meds. And, you know, your wheelchair lift and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to handicap assess your house and put a ramp in. Let's just get rid of them. Then they're not on security forever.
I like this. The VAC released a statement last week admitting to an incident where medical assistance in dying MAID was discussed inappropriately with the veteran. I call bullshit. The only reason they released that statement, you know what, man, I'm fired up now. You know, the only reason they released that fucking statement is because the veteran went to the media.
Right.
And Fox News picked up the story, and then they started acting. How many of those conversations do they have that they
no one even knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Kiss my ass.
Yep, exactly. Amen, brother. I'm telling you, it's bullshit. And you know what? I read that they're starting to offer this shit to teenagers. Well, tell me any teenager that hasn't went through some hormonal changes and ended up with some depression for a while and
like,
you know, didn't think
I'll
stupid
do it
shit
with
like
you.
that.
But I was only like half expecting her to actually
You
do
know,
it.
and now they're
She did it. I
fighting
was
it
like,
for the
well,
same
great,
thing
all right,
to
because I
be able
have
to do it
get
without
my
parental
swim trunks on
consent
and get
or
ready.
knowledge, right? So these people having secret conversations with your kid to either trans them out or to, you know, help them end their life.
This podcast started out pretty interesting and went freaking doing pretty quickly.
Yeah, but I just, you know, because Jordan Peterson is he's such a docile old man, right? Like, he's not running down the road with a torch saying, "Follow me, let's do battle." Like, he's just telling you in a very intellectual way to, you know what, work hard, be responsible, quit blaming everyone for your problems, be a goddamn man. You know, man up, take care of your family, don't leave, you know, your family all broken, raise your kids. They're good messages. You know, they are. And now you're trying to, like, end him, just cancel him out completely.
Well, they've been trying to for a long time.
And it's not like he's like the other guy the one that just got arrested, help me out here. The YouTube blogger guy that him and his brother just got arrested for
was it
trafficking and shit.
Was it? Oh, I don't want to say his name, but I think this guy. This guy? Is that the guy? And
no, I don't think so. No, not him. Oh man, he's been all over the media. He was in Romania. Yeah. His name is him and his brother Tristan. I know his brother's name.
I can't think of his.
You know, you'd think I'd remember his name. So here, let me look it up. Well, here, I'll do it this way. Give me a second. Go ahead and talk. Bitch about something. Well, you had said something interesting. Well, we were standing out in the kitchen there talking with my wife, and I don't even remember what she said, but she said something, and she's like, "Where did that even come from?" I'm like, "Well, it's because we're just an antenna receiving a signal from the mothership." Yeah. And you kind of knew exactly what I was saying, right?
Because it's weird how do we
Tate, Andrew Tate.
There you go,
Tate. Yes. Yeah. Now he's another one that's outspoken, you know, do the man thing, but he goes. In my opinion, he goes a little too far with shit anyways. And then, you know, at first, my first thought on this, well, you know what? We'll come back to Tate. Finish your thought first, because I interrupted you. Go ahead. We were in the kitchen.
Yeah, and she said, where do these thoughts even come from? And I had made the comment, I said they come from the mothership. You know, we're just an antenna receiving a signal, and that could be where consciousness comes from, right?
Yeah.
We really don't know.
No, you don't know.
Because you don't know the next word you're going to say. You don't know the next thought you're going to have. And you can't show me in my brain the spot where consciousness is. You can't show me in the brain where these thoughts are propagated from. You can't.
Where they're keyed up to come off the cliff into the next thing that's going to come out your mouth.
You cannot show me that.
Nope. No one knows where that comes from.
So until you can, I'm just going to assume that I'm just an antenna. The signal gets beamed down. Comes out my mouth. Because I can't explain it. Nobody can.
Nope.
There's theories.
Right.
But I don't hear any better theory than that.
No.
You know, nothing more convincing that, you know, it's really interesting when you think about it like that. Because you truly don't know. You don't know why you like what you like. You don't have no idea why you like Harleys better than I like Kawasaki's.
Right. What makes that, you know?
And people will say, well, it's, you know, okay, maybe because your dad rode a Harley when you were growing up. So maybe.
Could be, maybe.
But my dad didn't ride a Harley. Right. My dad didn't even ride a motorcycle. My brother rides, both my brothers ride Harleys, and I ride a Kawasaki.
Actually, I think the first bike my dad rode was a Kawasaki when I was really, really young.
So, you know, I could see if there's some certain thing that your dad... baseball got you into baseball at a young age and watched baseball. You tied that emotion to that, and so you continued to like baseball. But there's some things where
you just like what
you're just going forward, and all of a sudden, what's that? And you just gravitate right toward that one thing.
When you look at your wall versus my wall, shows it. You know what I mean? Because like I just put this clay pot. Made in Greece, man, like Greek pot, depicting the Trojan War. Like, so I'm a super nerd when it comes to like ancient civilization, shit. Like, why? My dad wasn't into this shit. My mom wasn't into this shit. Where does that desire to just want more and more of that knowledge? You know, on the way here, I was watching, I should not even admit this, watching YouTube while I'm driving, you know, over to the studio, and I'm watching them excavate in a cave, and they got, you know, archaeologists in there stripping the layers away to get back to the Stone Age, where they believe, you know, there were a civilization, a group of people that were living in this cave, and just the bone fragments, like watching them pull this shit up out of the soil, it was fascinating to me. Like, where does that urge come from? I have no idea. It's just something that's in me that, you know, makes me love watching videos from Time Team, I think is the one channel I watch a lot.
If you watch it wasn't the newest Rogan, it was, I should have remembered this, but since the Charlie Oscar victory, it seems like my brain's shit when it comes to remembering shit.
Yeah, your brain, my lungs.
And it was... Come on.
So, yeah, I get that. Where does these things come from?
Oh, there's John Reeves, the Boneyard, Alaska. Bro.
I'll have to go back and watch them.
Oh, son. Like, yeah. The amount of... What's that? Symbiote.
Bastard.
Get out of there. Yeah. The amount of bones that they found in 5 acres. 5 acres.
Yep.
And the animals they found there.
I read a little bit about that, but I didn't realize that Rogan had a podcast about it. I'll have to...
Yeah, this was recent. This is like 3 podcasts ago.
Okay, that's what... I'll have to listen to that.
Son.
That's in my wheelhouse.
There's dire wolves they found there. Elk.
Yeah.
Elk.
Yeah, they've just, the one I was watching, they just pulled out teeth from a giant red deer. Like, but it was huge compared to, you know, red deer now. Yeah. And I was like, wow, those were that big. Like, but I mean, essentially the same animal. It's just a lot bigger during the Ice Age than it is now, you know. But there's just a lot more to, you know, like I've seen...
The mammoth tusks they pulled out of here.
Yeah, I was watching them spray. They had the sinkhole, and they were shooting the side of it, the inside of it, with a water cannon.
That's what he does, too.
Yeah, and they were just, the bones they were yanking out of the suit. It was crazy amount, you know?
Yeah.
And the mammoth tusks, did you see how big some of those are?
No, I didn't watch. I need to go to his, this John Reeves... The Boneyard. His Instagram.
I think he was in a documentary that I watched on.
It's supposed to have all the pictures of all the.
Yep.
All this different shit on.
I'm telling you, those tusks were so big they could carry a car, man. Like this thing, those mammoths were huge. Like you talk about scooping up your Jeep Cherokee and walking away with it. I was like, wow. I always knew they were big, but man, when you see them pull a tusk out of the ground, it's like 14 feet long, really? Holy shit.
Yeah, and it was, like I said, I haven't looked at the images. I listened to podcasts the other day at work, and obviously
you have to check it out.
Obviously, they were bringing them up. Go with that. Yeah, the amount of shit they were pulling out of the ground, and just the animals, and they were saying that there ain't no way. Why would they come here? Wonder if that's the right account. It looks like it, but that's...
Never know until you click on it, though, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some, interesting stuff, and why one person's, so drawn to something and someone else is drawn to something different. Who knows? It's part of that secret magic that's inside us all. That is it your soul?
Yeah, and you'll see that with bow hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone won't get into boning until like their late 20s, maybe early 30s.
Right.
But then all of a sudden it's like there's some gravitational pull to where they're just all in.
Wasn't well, Noir was like that with firearms.
Was it later in life for him?
Later in life. He was in his mid-20s before he shot his first gun. I had no idea. I assumed, he was just raised with him his whole life and around him as huge as he is, in the 2A and just that way of life. Like, you would have thought he was born holding a firearm. And no, it was later. I just seen him say it in an interview. Like, he was in his mid-20s when he shot his first firearm. And then just went crazy. Yeah, like I was watching these guys dig out dinosaur bones in Montana and on these cattle farms and stuff. These big ranches that are,
Bro, look
at the size of that. It has the girth of a human
it's gotta be,
adult.
7 feet long?
And that's a piece of it,
Wow. But it's interesting because I think Rogan had asked him, like, well, archaeologists said, well, this never lived here, this never lived there. Is that only because they'd never found anything there?
I mean, a lot of it's just theory that hasn't been proven wrong.
Right. Right, and that makes you wonder also.
What else do we take as fact that might not be fact? It's just unproven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I question a lot of shit now. I guess it's one of the lessons I've learned as I've gotten older.
That's what I wanted to look up because I had never even seen.
That's why I believe in Bigfoot.
Oh,
Squatch is real. Telling you, one of these days they're gonna dig a Bigfoot up out of the ground, and then my nephew that makes fun of me, I'm gonna tell him, kiss my ass, kid. Look at that. Yeah, dire wolves. I mean,
I've never even seen an image of one. I wanted to see what they don't.
Watch Game of Thrones, man.
Yeah,
they're one of the main characters in Game of Thrones. They're huge.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering was how. Like,
well, if you go up,
I guess like here.
No, there was a different chart that was the other way that showed it. Yeah, there was like a normal wolf and a dire wolf. Look at that.
This one here.
Yeah, that's the dire. But look at it compared to a regular wolf. It's almost double the size.
3.5 feet to the shoulder, so it'd be up to about your armpit. Its head, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
With its head erect.
Yep.
Be about to your armpit. Yeah. Holy crap! They say a regular wolf is 2.5 feet to the shoulder, so a full foot taller.
And way more girth, like just huge.
Yeah. Remind me to tell you about a wolf later too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you look at a lot of these animals were, cave bears, like a lot of them were bigger than
what was it? The
flat nose or
short face?
Short face bear, is it?
Is it?
Yeah, short face. Yep.
Yeah, short. And I never looked at one of those either. They were talking, I think he found those up there too. And I wanted to see like comparison to a normal bear. Oh my god.
Yeah. Taller than a human being. I believe it. Yeah.
If that's real. Is that real?
Because I think a lot of those things in prehistoric times, like this thing's so tall you're barely up to its pelvis when it's standing on its hind legs.
Good lord.
Average male, adult male.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Dude, if those images are real.
Like,
so you're telling me that thing's at the head
standing normal on all fours,
6 feet high,
tall as a average human male. Yep.
Oh lord, how did we survive with animals like that around?
Tools, weapons, brain. We were
still. I don't know.
Could you imagine sleeping in your cave? And that's why, like, males, like, that's in our DNA to protect our family. You know what I mean? That was our job, to be the gatekeeper, man. Stand guard at the face of the cave so that thing didn't walk in there and eat your children. So that your bloodline would go on. That's why it was funny. Tim Pool always makes this statement, and I love it because it's really true that men are expendable and women are not. If you had one male and 100 women, you could repopulate the earth. If you had 100 men and one woman, your species is going to die.
Good after
you just can't do it. So
do you think there was more animals then, so the bear didn't maybe worry about eating men as much because
there was other game for it to chase. Sure, I imagine that's some of it, but I imagine a lot of humans did get eaten by them. I think we were smart. We learned how to avoid them. Maybe areas where they would probably, I'm assuming they would migrate like other bears, follow food either up into the hills or down into the valleys during seasonal changes and then hibernation. So we probably learned their movement patterns and how to avoid them. Because you look at like the saber-toothed tiger or things like that, like, man, these animals were just big, and anything that can take down a woolly mammoth could eat a human being. Like, because look at those tusks on that thing. They're like 12, 14 feet long.
Good Lord.
How did we even learn to hunt them?
I don't know that we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, they got it. One of the places I was watching, they said that how they hunted woolly mammoths was they would ambush them and drop boulders and shit on them from a higher place, a higher elevation. Like to go in and try to fight it with a spear wouldn't be very smart because they're so big. I just seen a documentary where they were showing ancient weapons, and they made this arrowhead, but it had like saw teeth with flint. So once it went in, it couldn't come out because they were barbed, but it would just move back and forth and just keep cutting and cutting the more the animal moved. And they theorized what they would do is shoot them with those weapons and then back off and let the animal just go off and bleed, because eventually it would bleed to death and die, and then you just go and recover it. Just pretty smart, It
just seems like there was other game, because to me, it's a lot of risk for the little reward, right? To hunt something that massive, you're not even gonna be able to consume the meat before.
They think those were with tribes, you know what I mean? Like not just a hunter-gatherer, one person. Like this was a village of people that, because you would feed your village for 6 months on that probably,
As long as you could preserve the meat.
Yeah, and they showed that people had smoked meat back then for preserving it, and they had the bones that had the tool marks in it that showed that these animals were butchered by humans.
I get that, but I wonder if
I don't think they were all just, you happen to walk across a dead one.
Well, that's more what I was wondering.
I think sometimes, maybe a saber-toothed tiger took one down and it ate and then walked off before it came back, and humans were scavengers too, right? We were hunter-gatherers. Like, I'm sure we were opportunists and we would take advantage of that shit, but no, I think their theory, obviously none of us lived 12,000 years ago, but
it just seems like, from a hunter myself, like that's a lot of risk.
We hunt elephants now. We still hunt them.
But we have very modern tools too.
Yeah, but and now you got 3 guys going out hunting an elephant, not 25.
Right.
Look at the Indians that hunted buffalo.
But I'm saying back then,
sharp sticks, man. Buffalo.
I could see buffalo. I think that's.
I seen what a buffalo did to a side of a car.
Buffalo is, cow size, so I could see the reward for the coat. You can use that fur for blankets, and
you don't think the woolly mammoth they have all kinds of tools that they built out of the bones and shit out of those animals. You know what they got? I was just watching one of the shows I was watching on the way to the studio today. They got Stone Age tools that were made out of bone that they know they're tools, but they don't even know what they were used for. Like, we lost that knowledge. Somewhere along the way, they became obsolete, and they got so far back that, the story of what that tool was used for just didn't exist anymore. So they were using it in different applications to try to figure out, we know this is a tool. We can see it was made by man, but we don't know what it's for. And one of them was a antler from a red deer, and it had a hole cut through it. It was about a foot long. It almost looked kind of like a club, but it had a hole in it, and then it had these spirals cut in it. And they were trying to figure out, like, I thought maybe it was like some sort of hammer, but then, well, what's this hole for? They figured out, they think what they believe was it was a handle. So because they had bones in the same cave from wild horses.
Yeah.
They think when you lassoed a wild horse with a rope, you'd have the rope fed through that hole on that handle, and you'd slide it forward and then bend it back and pull it to you, and the rope would not slip through it. So they tested it, and sure enough, it did work that way. And now they're thinking that that's what it was for. It was like a handle for the rope. So when you would catch a horse and it was pulling, you had leverage and grip.
Where was this at?
This was in England, in a cave that they were excavating.
I wonder what year.
And they think it was from like 12,000 years ago, or 13,000 years ago. And it was from an antler from a red deer, and it had a hole cut through it. I'll bring it up after the show and show you. It's pretty neat. But again, they had these tools, and they know their tools. They just don't know exactly what they were made to do sometimes. And they were just trying different applications to figure out what it could be used for. And one of them had the idea, let's feed a piece of rope through there and then lasso, Jimmy, let's throw that over Jimmy and have him pull and buck and jump around. And they tested just pulling him in with the rope by hand versus having that lever on there. It was neat. It was really neat. And I thought, well, they probably did figure out what that tool was used for. So, but what it showed was we have a tendency to think that like Stone Age man was dumb. Like caveman, hit your woman with a club, drag her to your cave, go kill something and eat it. Like humans were stupid, but they were actually pretty ingenious for what they had available to them. The things that they could do with it was amazing compared to us. I mean, if you took me and you and dropped us off 12,000 years ago, we'd probably die. And you and I have pretty good skill set, especially, some.
It's amazing how some things in our DNA and evolution disappear so quickly, but other ones stick with us.
Right.
Like the fishing thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if you're freaking 3 years old or 90 years old. You hook into a fish, the reaction's the same.
Oh, yeah.
I got one, right?
Yeah. Feels
you're
good.
so excited.
That adrenaline. Because you're going to eat.
Right.
That's what it comes from, I think.
That's gone, right?
Right.
No, I'm sorry. That exists, right? That still exists to this day. I give you a fire starter kit. The average person, they'd be like, huh?
What's this?
What do I do with this?
Ferro rod. What's that?
Right.
And I can,
that's modern, considering.
And you and I could do it with a stick. Just, a couple of sticks.
Take a while.
But primitive survival skills,
but those seems like they evaporated really fast from our DNA. But some things still stick.
Man, could you imagine taking the average, like someone out of Jersey or LA or something, and just drop them off in the woods 13,000 years ago? How long do you think someone would live?
I wonder why. Well, it makes you wonder, right? Like, are we like those domesticated hogs?
Just become feral real fast.
Yeah. What if we resort?
If it unlocks something in your DNA and you just boom right back to it, sharpen a stick, let's go kill some shit and eat.
Right. I wonder after like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, if all of a sudden. We start growing hair and canines,
right? Go back to Neanderthal, right? Huh.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, sure does. But I love watching them dig that shit up out of caves, and
I still want to know why that one woolly mammoth was found frozen with the flowers still in its mouth,
and then like it froze
undigested.
What they say was within like
10 hours.
10
Had
hours?
to completely freeze solid within 10 hours for the contents not to fully digest in its stomach.
So it reminded me of the scene.
Flowers in its mouth still.
Yeah, it reminded me of the scene that was in Day After Tomorrow, right? The movie with Dennis Quaid and like it's a green energy movie, no doubt. It's about global warming and shit, but it's a good movie. I like it. The special effects are cool, and
that's where it
has a storm that comes through, and like the helicopters are flying through it, and they just everyone freezes instantly, and the helicopters crash and shit.
Yeah.
It's almost like a tornado. Or a hurricane in the middle of a snowstorm, and the barometric pressure changed so fast and violently, like the temperatures dropped to like minus 60, instantly or some crap like that, and everything froze solid. And if you weren't like indoors, like with a fire, you would die, right?
Yeah,
and
I do remember that show. Yeah,
yeah. It kind of, when you were telling me about that mammoth, they reminded me of like, what did it just?
You'd almost have to believe,
over
right?
top of it, and just
you'd almost have to believe something flash froze it, because even if even a super volcano or a meteor hit, right? Like, it takes time for it to block out the sun and the temperature
and for the trees to start dying, plant life to die.
I think, I don't know. I'm not.
No, I think so, because by tree rings, they can go back now over the last 17,000 years, I think, and tell you the weather of what it was because of the way the tree rings grow. And during like Pompeii, and I just watched another one about a volcanic eruption that had worldwide effects all the way around the globe, and it put like 4 years of a lot of starvation and really hard for crops to grow. Like, so it doesn't happen like within a minute. It takes a little while.
Yeah, but you're talking. Can you kick that fan on over there?
So yeah, you're
telling me something froze.
Right.
Solid.
Yeah.
A mammoth.
Within 10 hours. So yeah, that's flash freezing, and it just reminded me of that.
That's scary that the temperatures, something happened so catastrophically.
That it could drop the temperature that fast.
And then what was that?
Divine
that bison, right? Or that buffalo blue?
Yeah. Yep.
They found that thing completely frozen, intact.
Yeah, completely frozen intact.
What happened there?
So you gotta wonder, man, like, superstorm, just this vortex of just cold air that goes over top of you and freezes. How did humans even survive it at all?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, were
they lucky. Close enough to the equator?
Maybe that's, I would think.
Shit like that scares the hell out of me. Like, there's something so catastrophic, some event
that can happen,
but yet we still survived.
Yeah, and I wish I remembered the name of that volcano. It was one of the things I was actually going to bring up in the show last week or the week before, because I had watched a really good documentary on it, and just, man, the global impact it had. I think it was in the year... I don't want to say it and be wrong. But
what are we looking for?
It was in the 1530s or something, because...
What are we looking for?
It was a volcanic eruption...
Good luck.
It had global impact all around the world, but they proved it, and they figured out. They were trying to figure out what happened in that time frame, and then they thought, was it a meteor impact, a comet impact, a volcanic eruption? Eventually, they figured out it was a volcanic eruption. But watching them figure out what volcano it came from, like, it was crazy. The investigation they did, and they proved it. Like, But now it's been a few weeks, and I don't remember everything about it now. But they did finally. It was in like this tribal area.
There's 5 of the largest that changed the world.
Yeah.
Let's see if any of them. Well, that one's a little too recent.
Yeah, it wasn't Helen's. It wasn't.
Is that what this one is? That's Thera.
I think it was there. It was by the island of Java.
Of course. Keep reading.
Yeah. It wasn't that one. That one's the one that, that covered Pompeii.
Tambora, 1815.
What's that? Maybe it was on the first page.
Krakatoa.
Krakatoa.
Really?
That's it.
1883?
Yep, Krakatoa. 36,000 people, and one of the deadliest explosions in history. But what was crazy about it was that it changed the climate around the entire globe for 3 to 5 years. It was like they now they're looking back at these paintings that they had from back then that always had like these red kind of skies, and they thought it was just kind of the artist their style, and now they're thinking, no, that's actually what they were seeing, because the sunsets were different because of all the volcanic ash and shit that was in the atmosphere. But they knew it had to be one that was close to the equator to get spread around the globe. And then they looked at the ice in Antarctica So the North and South Pole, and they did the, you know how they do the drill and they pull out the
core samples.
Yeah, God, my brain's farting today. So they went back and they looked and they found the volcanic ash in the atmosphere there that was froze, obviously, so you could date it, and they dated it right then, like, and then they finally found a witnessed where it was recorded by the people that was by that island or something, because even the people in China had recorded that they heard a great thunder. And then I think later on it was that the sun started to disappear. Like, could you imagine, like, somewhere all the way around the world from you goes off, and all of a sudden, you know, for 3 to 5 years you can't grow any crops? But they could do the tree rings and see, like, even during the summertime, the tree was growing like it was during the winter months. So it was frost damage done to the tree. Because it was like, in some areas, it gave it like a nuclear winter. You know what I mean? Like, it's there was no summer.
It makes you wonder how we survived.
Yeah, how in the hell did we survive that?
We're horny.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, honey, come on, get in this cave.
Man.
You know? Yeah.
God, yeah, we had.
It's amazing that humans survive it all.
I wonder if that's why they want to, they want to say, plastics, that's dropping testosterone levels and this and that. But I wonder if it's just life's getting so much easier.
I think it's all of the above.
That our libido isn't as strong, right?
Maybe.
Because the need to reproduce, now there's 8 billion of us, right?
Yeah.
The need to reproduce.
It's being bred out of us, do you think?
Well, like we were talking about having to start a fire, right?
Yeah.
We don't need to start a fire anymore. So it's...
They say now that it's harder for a man to find a mate now than it's probably ever been. Which I can see why they say that, being single and dating myself.
It may be harder to find a mate. That's not what I'm talking. I'm saying we don't need to reproduce because there's biologically there's so many of us that our bodies are going. We don't need to make
slow down a little bit. Right. Yeah, we don't need to make as many people.
Right. Even though I know what you're saying, that the man to woman ratio is so far out of whack.
Oh yeah, like I seen a pretty good study about that. It was pretty interesting, but. Yeah, I see your point there.
I don't know.
That makes sense. Just your DNA starting to say, we don't need have one child instead of 14
or no child,
right? Or no child.
There's still enough.
I think it's still
there are enough Christians out there, or enough Catholics out there not using contraceptives.
Right. Yeah, true. The Catholics will reproduce. Yeah, I'm not going for that bait this time.
It makes you wonder, though.
Yeah, it's it's a theory. Yeah, I like it.
We don't need to start fire. Even fire in a fire. I'm not talking like out in the woods, like survival. We need to cook this squirrel that I trapped. Right. How do I rub two? I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about building a freaking campfire. You have newspapers, you have a lighter, you have a cardboard box.
We had some training in that, didn't we?
Well, I
remember that eons ago, trying to start a fire out there with cardboard. And my ex-wife, man, she was a genius when it came to fire. So I remember it just became her job. Yeah. You know what I mean? Here, start a fire, because it's the way you stack your wood. It's the kind of how you're going from your kindling bundle and building up into that to make it to grow and to have enough fuel to keep it growing, to get it hot enough to burn. I've seen so many people throw in a truckload of newspaper with a few sticks and start it on fire and then not be able to create a fire out of it, because they just don't even understand how the wood burns and how to,
And I think women are good at
stages.
We're men, right? Mm-hmm. We just throw a whole pile of wood on there. Bitch, when it
hit it with enough sparks sooner or later,
right? And the same,
we're aggressive with it.
I said this to my wife because she found our daughter's deer this year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't surprise me because it seems like women pick up on the finer detailed things, right? They're a little. They're able to take themselves to another level where they can slow shit down a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? We're hyper aggressive. We just fucking run into it, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I told her, I gave her full credit. I said, it didn't surprise me one bit that you saw that.
I've seen a good documentary that was showing that.
I'm probably looking for wolves, right? Yeah. I'm scanning the horizon for
looking
threats,
for dangers and shit.
Right.
It was that women do like heavy equipment operators. That it's predominantly a men-driven field, but the women that are in there are actually better. You know, they're just more subtle with the controls. They're just softer with it. And then you think about like shooting. And you know how it's a guy thing, you know, we shoot guns, you know, women stay home and cook food, you know what I mean? But in reality, like when a woman applies herself to that, she actually, it's real common for women to go into the gun range for the first time, buying a handgun and shoot as well or better than their husband or boyfriend. And the guy's like, what the F? You know, because they're natural, just slow, calm. Men are aggressive.
You've seen my 15-year-old daughter's 300-yard shot group.
Girls shoot better. I think typically men do because we have to work harder for it, and more men do it, right? So obviously, then men are probably better, but seriously, man and woman side by side, same gun, she outdoes them. She's just, softer with it, more gentle with it. Where men are aggressive, we force it, push it, you know.
Well, and we were talking about Robin Hooded arrows, you know, and my daughter got her first one. She was like 13 or 14. Yeah. And I had never got one till last week.
Right. Take your whole adult life to do it.
I've been bow hunting for 34 years now.
Right.
You know, they
for sure,
they have an ability to key in on fine details.
Yeah,
so much
agreed.
Better.
Yeah. Like you said, you know, I think because in our DNA we're watching the horizon. We're looking for the bear that's tracking the wounded deer too, or the wolf or whatever. You know, like another tribe of people that are, you know, out to headhunt your ass. Who knows? You know, there is a difference though, for sure. You know.
It is interesting when you get into gender roles, though, why certain genders are better at certain things.
Yeah, where those traits, how it got determined.
It had to be out of necessity, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You know. And you were talking about God earlier, gods. And then you look at what the depiction of a Greek god is. What do they usually look like? You know?
Very feminine, you know.
Well, I mean, very.
Yeah, true. When you look at like Greek gods like Zeus and Hercules, yeah. I was thinking more like the statue Aphrodite.
Oh no.
They're all kind of. Even the men have very soft features for some reason, and you know.
No, I'm talking like penises. Leonidas, you know.
But, yeah. I got you. Yeah, they're all muscular, very buff, like. Men's men.
Yeah, and I was watching some bodybuilding videos the other day, like old Arnold videos and stuff like that. And
he was a beast.
And we still, as a species, there's a certain segment that still strives for that, right?
Right.
And you look at even like cage fighters, you know, that, you know, and, you know, you look at a Coliseum and you look at cage fighting, it's like,
we haven't changed.
You know, like,
It's funny. My brother's a minister and, you know, we talk a lot and we were having a conversation a couple days ago and I was telling him, you know, some of the stories that I'm currently reading the King James Version of the Bible from cover to cover. I'm 3/4 of the way through it. Like, you know, I've done really good, but it was amazing me that some of the stories that of people back, you know, 2,500 years ago, this book was written, and man, people have not changed. Like, we have really, we got cars now and not chariots. You know what I mean? Like, we got big lighters and not sticks to rub together to start a fire, but the behavior of humans really it's so weird to read stories from back then and to be. It's so familiar to human behavior now. You know what I mean? Like, we really are a lot the same.
Instead of battling in the field, though, we battle online, right?
Right.
We just talk shit now.
Right.
Right. A little bit of action here and there, right?
Yeah,
obviously,
I mean, you look at Ukraine and what's going on.
Even in the streets of America, we see conflicts, right?
Chicago and the big cities. Yeah.
No, I'm saying, like...
Wasn't just in... where was it? The guy just got his face eaten off.
You know, I heard something about it, but I haven't seen... I didn't see it.
Holy frickin' zombie time, man.
Well, it's not the first time we've seen that, right?
No.
We've seen that.
Yeah, they were saying before bath salts or something was creating it. I don't know. I think people are just losing.
Well, toxicology reports came back on that one then, and it's surprising that people still believe that's what it was.
Right.
Because I specifically remember, and I guess I should look it up, but I specifically remember that the toxicology report came back and said the only thing in the system was like weed, like from a couple days prior.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that people still believe, you know.
Yeah, it was either bath salts or that they were smoking the synthetic marijuana, and I'm like, nah, these people just losing their goddamn mind. That's what it is, you know. I think the world is crazy times, man. Crazy times.
I was trying to remember what year that even was. What was that, like 2010 or something?
Yeah, probably around then. It was quite a while ago. But I just seen another.
But I saw there was a new one. I just heard something about the other day.
Yeah, he bit his face off and ate like part of his face and the guy's ear or something. Just it was crazy.
2015. That sound right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the one by the. Yep, I remember that one. By the overpass or something. They had it on video or something, and the cops shot him and killed him. But yeah, it just happened again. Just
but like, I vividly remember them saying that you know, because I remember people.
He was the one that was eating the homeless guy or something. Yeah. They had him on video, and I think he was the one that he wasn't on anything but marijuana. I think that's what we're talking about.
I still remember talking to people not that long afterwards, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it was bath salts."
Right.
Yeah, right here. So while toxicology, while the toxicology report on cannibal attacker Rudy Eugene failed to find the bath salts drugs in his system, an addiction expert speculates that marijuana could have influenced the face chewing.
Oh my God! Yeah,
so many people smoke weed and have the ambition to chase down a freaking homeless guy and chew his face.
How many
weed smokers you know that have that kind of ambition?
Exactly. Fuck no, man. You smoke that, you want to sit down, eat a bag of Cheetos, play Call of Duty, watch Star Trek.
Theorize on...
Yeah, deep dive the meaning of life. No one's running around. Let's call it what it is, mental illness. People are losing their goddamn minds. They go through whatever trauma in their life and they snap and I don't know. They had a story that I had just caught. Some guy climbed in this girl's bedroom and took his clothes off, and her dad came in the room. She texted her mom from her bed, and the dad ran in the room and told the guy to get the F out, and the guy just growled at him. So the dad gave him a couple shots from his handgun to the chest, and helped pass this guy on to the next life. But I was like, wow, man, that's weird. A naked guy in his daughter's bedroom growling and snarling at him. It's just weird. People get all animalistic. Who knows?
So there's okay, so this must be the new one here. It says 21/5 of 23.
Yeah.
Jeez, Pete, a 25-year-old former college soccer player.
Yeah, that's the one. A 78-year-old man. I mean, man.
In Oregon.
Yep, in Oregon.
Chewing in his ear and part of his face. Wow.
What is going on in the world, man?
He thought he was a killer robot.
Yep. Mental illness.
That guy's only 25.
Hey, man, I mean, if the guy wants to identify as a robot, who are we to say he's not one?
No. He thought that the guy he attacked was a killer robot.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, he believed the victim was a killer robot.
78-year-old man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. crazy. I think the world is just in a really crazy place right now. I don't know, man. Maybe repent. Maybe the old man that was holding the cardboard sign that said "Repent, the end is near" wasn't so crazy. It kind of makes you wonder.
Spaceships or UFOs getting shot out of the sky.
Yeah. Zombies are running around eating people's faces. Yeah.
And dementia patient running the U.S.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, boys are girls, girls are boys. Yep.
Interesting times.
Interesting times indeed.
I didn't know what we were going to talk about today.
Yeah, I had no idea. I knew I kind of wanted to touch on the Jordan Peterson thing a little bit, just because it annoyed the hell out of me. But just the whole cancel culture, both ways. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anyone shut up. I want everyone to be able to feel free and comfortable, just voice their opinion. And, hell, we never even got into Andrew Tate and the whole
I don't know enough about him.
Like, I've seen a couple of his videos. I'm not an expert in him at all. Some of the message I got from him was kind of cool. Like, again, be a man, be masculine, go to the gym, have a good diet, just be a goddamn man. I get that part was kind of cool. He's nothing against some testosterone and shit. But then there was another part of my heard, but it could have been taken out of context too. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but he kind of was like, seemed to have this mentality of just use women, like don't settle down, sleep with as many women as you can to be a real man. And I think, if you want to be a real man, real true man, like you wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? It's the commitment.
I don't think it's a good representation of being a man, right? It doesn't do the male image. That's what creates the toxic masculinity movement, is people saying shit like that.
Agreed.
Like, if both parties agree to it and they just want to have casual,
hey man,
whatever,
if two people talking on, that's what they want to do.
But if your intent is just to go around
to seek out and bang as many females as possible,
and they don't know that that's what your intent is just to have a good time and a hookup.
Apparently, what happened was, he did some cam videos, and some girls did videos for him, and he was bragging how these girls loved him and they would do whatever for him, and they think, was he actually human trafficking into some sexual shit? Maybe. I don't know. Well, wait. I seen an interview last night from a girl that is representing two of the victims of him and his brother. We'll see. You just got to wait and let the truth come out. It almost seemed at first, I kind of tended to maybe not believe it at first, because I was very skeptical of it, because he had just come out against, he had just made a video making fun of that kid that was in the climate change, whatever her name is. She's one of the princess of the green movement. And it was like 2 days later he was arrested, and he had already predicted that they were going to arrest him, because they canceled him off every bit of social media because he was toxic, right? And then he just got put back on Twitter, and he said first they cancel you, then they arrest you, and then you kill yourself. So I'm not suicidal, right? And he references the Matrix a lot in his videos, like, get out of the Matrix, disconnect from it, take your pill, wake up, break away from the system. So he had some good messages, but then he kind of went, I think to be a real true man in your heart is to have a family, to have a wife, to suppress those primal urges to seek out and impregnate as many females as possible to ensure your own bloodline. It's those things that make us better than animals, right? If you wave that stuff off, then you're just an animal like any other animal in the world. So I think, that's where his message kind of got real shitty for me. I don't think it was a good message for young men. I don't think you should be telling them to go out and, carve as many notches in the bedpost as possible.
No, I don't think it.
You know what I mean? Like, you're robbing them of these relationships that they can have that are deep and meaningful. It's that commitment. So,
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me.
Yeah, Greta, that was her name. And we'll see what happens. Like, you know, he's got that video there with the pizza box, and that's the video he was making fun of her. And then right away they start saying, oh, the pizza box tipped the Romanians off that he was in the country, and so they knew where he was at, and they arrested him. It's like, dude, they don't need a pizza box. For one, they know that he lives there. He's got a compound there. And if they wanted to know he was there, they'd just go by and see if he's home. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need to see a pizza box on social media. So they proved it was an absolute lie, but people believed it anyways, and they were making fun of him about not recycling his pizza box.
I believe more. They probably...
Yeah. They knew he was there, you know what I mean? Like, when you fly into a country, they ping your cell phone.
Right.
They scan your passport that you're in the country. Like, come on, they knew he was there. So, is he really a bad person or not? We'll find out. He's rich. He's one of the richest people in the world, he claims. He's got, you know, I don't know, like,
really
sports cars that are like $6 million a piece, and he's very flamboyant like that. But, you know, Epstein was rich, and look at what he was doing. I think that's part of the problem, though, is people on the right are saying, look, how come Epstein, like, and Maxwell's in jail, no one has the list.
Yeah, he ain't the richest.
25 years, yeah, he said he was, like, worth $100 billion.
Yeah, he said $100 million. So.
Yeah, and they were theorizing that he was just talking shit, but... you know, why is it that Epstein gets away with this shit for 30 years and we still don't have the information, and this guy's like, they're going to take him down and make a big deal out of it? No one made a big deal out of it when it was Epstein. Is it because, you know, he did break away from the Matrix and those guys were part of it, so the Matrix protected him? Who knows? We'll wait and see. Let the truth will come out, you know? If he did those things, then he deserves to go to jail. Good riddance, you know?
This estimate says $250 million, so...
Yeah. I mean, he's got a ton of money, you know.
I don't know enough about him. I don't know how he made his money. It's just being a
they said he started with cam, getting these girls to do cam videos for him and shit, and then eventually he became like an online influencer personality. But what really catapulted him above and beyond was when everyone canceled him. It had the opposite effect of what they wanted. It made people just, you know, crave him even more. So... yeah, we'll see. You know, he'll end up in court, and hopefully we hear, you know, which wouldn't surprise me, this one you'll actually hear about. You know, Epstein, you don't hear shit about. You know, where's the list? You know, we have the right to know. Mm-hmm. You know, and then Luke brought up a good point. There's kids that are missing. That went on are missing. You know, I never even thought about that. I seen a documentary of some of the kids that were victimized by these pieces of shit. But I didn't know, like, there's children still missing. Like, no one, like, what the hell did you do with them? You know? Throw them out of an airplane over the ocean somewhere so that they couldn't tell somebody? I mean, is that the kind of shit that was happening to these children? And like I said, man, when you have a world where you can't protect the most innocent, precious people among us, like, what the hell does that say about us as a species? It's just sad. Like, this shit should not be allowed to happen.
Someone called me out to my face about my fence post sitting physicians.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like being called out. You know why? It means someone's actually listening. Yeah. You know? So.
And that's cool with it. I get the point they're making. They more took your side to the fact that, like, if we don't speak up and speak out and expose this shit, that
it just gets
our
worse.
Culture, you know, it affects culture, and it's going to keep changing. And then, you know, and I was like, you know, I can understand their point. And then listen to Tim Pool talk about, you know, he's making a coffee house and a skate park.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, man. I respect it.
They're going to be they're going to have TVs with their content playing.
Good cartoons for kids to watch. You know?
And I started thinking about it, you know, and, you know, I respect their opinion on it, you know, and I could see how. I think they missed my point, though, where I was saying, like, it's your responsibility to raise your kids the way you want to raise them. And when
you have to be
when you're more invested in working and figuring out how you're going to make money to buy your new set of golf clubs. Yeah. And then you get pissed off when the school's not raising your kids the way you want them to raise them.
You're going to hurt your family if you're not engaged with them.
Right.
You know?
That was my point about that.
Yeah, because society, look, you can change culture all you want and swing it back to the good, but there's always been predators. There's always been people trying to take your children. So just using that one as an example, like, you could push culture back the other direction, but if you're not engaged with your family because you're preoccupied with these other things that are should be less important, then still bad shit can happen to your family, right?
Yeah, chasing money.
Culture's only part of it, but my point with culture was, like, hopefully as we push back on this and we influence culture, we influence the people that maybe stop thinking about the newest, greatest golf clubs and start thinking about their kids, because we are talking about it, because we are bringing attention to it, because some of these things are traps that I think we fall into as people that we don't necessarily see all the time until you're in it. You know, like that picture I showed you earlier, the guy standing in Times Square with all the billboards, and then the picture underneath is him in the same spot, but all the billboards have changed to black and white, obey, purchase, submit, you know, and I think that that's true in a lot of ways. So if we bring light to it, maybe some of these people go, you know what, maybe these golf clubs ain't so goddamn important, and, you know, so hopefully, you know, we can affect culture in a good, positive way. I hope so, because I think the direction that it's going is not a good direction. I don't.
It sure seems like we're on some weird tipping point.
Yeah.
With culture, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so divided. It's like we're running full steam at each other with ideas and how we think things should be run.
It's a crazy time to be alive right now. There's never been, you know, and I think you and I have always kind of paid attention to shit going on in the world. Like, I've always been that. I was the 8-year-old that would get up and watch Meet the Press. You know what I mean? On Sunday, like, I didn't even watch cartoons. I
remember watching George Stephanopoulos when he first started doing news, you know, like when he was young. Yeah. I was young, obviously, but...
You know, these guys, like, I idolized the shit out of Tom Brokaw, and, you know, like, God, these people were just... I loved watching Meet the Press, and what was the other one, the round table they did? Off the top of my head, I can't remember right this second, but anyways, never in my life have I seen it this way, though. It's just... And at first I thought, man, it's probably because I'm older and I'm wiser, I'm paying closer attention, but man,
no, because I think even like George Stephanopoulos, like right in his early days, I watched him. I thought he was more center. Yeah. And then he went
just crazy. Yeah. I think the world is just going crazy.
Well, I think we're just so damn tribal that somehow there's this resurgence of that. I don't know if it's because so many people used to align with just one set of values, and somehow we broke off, and now there's this values over here and there's values over here, and if you agree with any of these, you're over there, and if you agree with any of these, you're over there. And
but when I step back, I take a step back and I go, look, you cannot have you can't have an opinion that differs from the other one, or they crush you, right? Like, now, boys are girls, girls are boys. White people are calling black people racist, right? Like, the world is crazy. It's just backwards, man. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta think, like, man, this is just the ultimate, you know, like they're making it socially acceptable to be a person who's attracted to children sexually. Like, it just seems like the battle of good and evil just starting to bubble up into the world. I don't know. It's just crazy time to live. Never in my life have I seen it like this, you know?
No, it's definitely the biggest divide.
Just nuts.
I've seen in my lifetime.
Like,
and it seems like it started in the early
reality TV show host was the president of the United States. Like, really? You know, think back 20 years ago. Had we said
Reagan was a movie star.
Hey, he was a movie star, but not. There's a difference between an actor that you like and respect and a reality TV show star. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not knocking. I'm like, you know, there were things about the Trump presidency I loved. There were things about it I hated. The shit he's done lately, I'm like, yeah, Trump, you're done. You're a joke now, man. You come out, you want to sell cards and, like, you know, Then he gets into the machine. You see that? He told everyone to vote for McCarthy for Speaker. I said, you sellout. Yeah. Come on. I thought you were the bull in the china. People love that about you because you would break against the narrative. You would go against the machine. And now you're just selling out to it.
Didn't McCarthy support investigations against Trump?
Yeah. He was on the record saying that Trump was Putin's puppet, that he was responsible for January 6th, like he was part of the Republican machine that fought so hard against MAGA candidates, like, people that just want some accountability and want some change in the government, and he's part of the establishment, the machine, desperately holding on. And what's Trump do? Comes out and stumps for him. I'm like, really? You're gonna give that guy your blessing?
So
why?
The Republicans and the Democrats are one of the same, right?
Pretty much.
Then you have AOC's squad, right?
Yep.
And then you have
MAGA squad.
Then you have like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey on that other side, right?
Yep.
But lumped in the center are just
the
Democrats and Republicans, just one of the same, right?
Yeah.
They just keep scratching each other's back to maintain power.
Pretty much. It's sick. And then in the very center, you have probably the majority of the actual people in the world that are a little bit left, a little bit right, depending on,
They really don't give a shit. They just want
to go to work and provide a good life for their fucking family.
Be able to go home and have good health insurance.
Be able to go to the fucking doctor. Like, the healthcare system's, it's collapsing right now. Just collapsing. Like, how could anyone look at what?
Wait till my wife tells you about.
Oh,
she doesn't work there anymore. Wait till she tells you the shit that came down today.
So I did ask my sister-in-law, who works for a very big hospital in our area, and I asked her how many nurses they were short, and she told me, and now I don't remember. I want to say it was 180. It was over 180 nurses the hospital was short. Wow, man, it's just, how in the hell can you keep...
Hold my beer. Wait till she tells you how many people are still...
Oh, yeah, I can imagine there's probably only a half a dozen...
It got bad.
Did it? Yeah, well, bad management, man.
Yeah.
And she knew. She knew it was going to happen. Yeah. We had that conversation. When you have bad managers that just... Look at, man, you can only horsewhip someone so long. Yeah. And the problem is when you're using the stick and not the carrot, it's all stick, eventually people quit fearing the stick.
I remember
they just do, and then they quit, I
remember one time I told a coworker, I'm like, managers decide the fate of the company. They survive. Their decisions dictate whether it thrives or survives. And I said, no, it's not. It's the employees. What if they have a bunch of shitty employees? I said, who hires and maintains all those shitty employees?
And what makes employees shitty? Is it bad attitudes? Is it bad attitudes because of mismanagement?
But I was just saying from they didn't, then all of a sudden
they didn't screen their employees well.
Then all of a sudden they're like, I'm like, yeah.
Managers make it
success of a company rides on the shoulders of the manager.
I could not agree with you more.
It's amazing how
many bad managers just do terrible shit and make. Hey, look at, man, a bad attitude is contagious. They've proven that. Yeah. So is a good attitude. Yeah. And if you have good managers in there, promoting a good atmosphere. Employees come to work, they don't call in sick as much, they don't steal from the company, they don't quit and leave and go to other companies. It's just the overall success and health of that company is so much greater when you have good managers versus bad managers. I agree 100%. I couldn't agree more. It just, the success of that company is built on the back of good or bad managers, success or failure, I should say.
Well, I think we're pretty good. We're a couple hours deep. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope whoever made it this far.
I hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us for a couple hours.
Again, I know it's like beating a dead horse, but leave a comment, thumbs up, leave a period.
Right.
Leave something. Whatever.
Yeah. Please, guys, help us build this. We're trying. Subscribe. We're trying really hard.
We put a ton of shorts out there. Some of them are funny. Some of them are serious. give those a like, share them. They're only 10, 15 seconds long. They're easy to watch, easy to share.
If there's something you want us to get into, leave it in a comment, and we'll look into it and maybe kick it back and forth on here too.
And
we want to interact. So
we like the interaction. We like the communication.
For sure.
All right, remember, be kind to each other.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys next time.